20 cars, 10 teams, one race that can move over $1 billion in a single weekend. Formula One is the fastest sport on Earth and quietly one of the richest. In 2025, it pulled in a record $3.8 billion. So where does all that money actually come from, and where does it go? Let's follow it from the sport to the teams to the drivers, right down to a single man, Lewis Hamilton. Buckle up. First, a little context, because F1 wasn't always this money machine. It started back in 1950, a handful of races across Europe. For decades, it was huge in motorsport, but niche. Then in 2017, an American company called Liberty Media bought Formula One for $4.4 billion, and they did something clever. They turned a racing series into a global entertainment brand. Netflix's Drive to Survive, social media, new races in Miami and Las Vegas. The result, revenue nearly doubled from around $1.8 billion in 2017 to $3.8 billion today. F1 now has 97 million social media followers and a TV audience in the hundreds of millions. This is how a niche sport became a billion-dollar entertainment empire. So where does that $3.8 billion come from? Three big buckets. Number one, media rights. The money broadcasters pay to show the races, that's the single biggest slice, about a third of everything. Number two, race hosting fees. What countries pay F1 just to hold a Grand Prix? That's roughly another $1 billion a year. And number three, sponsorship. The logos you see everywhere. Add it up and you've got a machine generating nearly $4 billion a year before a single team spends a penny. Now here's the interesting part. F1 doesn't keep all of it. Almost half gets handed straight to the teams, which brings us to the real battleground. Every F1 team runs on three engines of income. The first is prize money. That $1.4 billion from F1 gets split among the 10 teams, based partly on where you finish and partly on history. And that history part is wild. Ferrari, because it's Ferrari, the most famous name in the sport, gets a special bonus of around $63 million every year just for existing. The second engine is sponsorship, and for most teams, this is actually the biggest one. Red Bull's title sponsor alone, Oracle, pays over $50 million a year. And the third thing isn't income, it's a limit. To stop the richest teams from simply buying every championship, F1 introduced a cost cap, a spending limit of around $140 million per team per season. But here's the twist that tells you everything about F1's economics. In 2025, McLaren won both championships and still only finished fourth in total earnings. Ferrari, who didn't win, earned more. In Formula One, winning on track and winning the money game are not the same thing. Now, the stars of the show, the drivers. A driver's income has three layers. Layer one, base salary, paid by the team. Layer two, performance bonuses, cash for wins, podiums, and points. And layer three, often the biggest for the top names, personal endorsements, their own sponsorship deals, completely separate from the team. And here's a detail most people miss. Driver salaries do not count against the team's cost cap. That's why the very best can command eye-watering money. In 2025, Max Verstappen topped the list at around $76 million. Lewis Hamilton in his first year at Ferrari, about $70 million. Lando Norris, $57. These aren't athlete salaries, these are movie star salaries. Let's zoom in on one driver to see how it really stacks up. Lewis Hamilton. In 2025, Hamilton made one of the biggest moves in sports history, leaving Mercedes for Ferrari. His Ferrari contract reported at around $60 million a year in base pay, with bonuses and image rights that can push the package toward $100 million. But that's only the racing side. Off the track, Hamilton is a brand. His personal endorsement deals with names like Puma, Tommy Hilfiger, IWC, and Sony are worth around $30 million a year on their own. Put it together, and in a single 12-month stretch, Hamilton earned roughly $80 million, about $60 from racing, $20 from endorsements. His total net worth, estimated near $300 million, and he's still driving. This is what it looks like when an athlete becomes a global business. Okay, so countries pay F1 to host a race. Qatar pays the most, around $55 million a year. Historic Monaco pays the least, about $20 million. The average is around $43 million, which raises an obvious question. Why on earth would a country pay $40 million to hold a car race because of what comes with it? When Las Vegas hosted its first Grand Prix, it generated an estimated $1.5 billion in economic impact. Hotels, restaurants, flights, tourism. Baku's race added around $500 million to its economy. In Monaco, the Grand Prix weekend alone accounts for 30% of the tiny country's entire yearly tourism revenue. The race is a loss leader. The fee is the ticket price to put your city in front of the world, but it's not guaranteed. Some races lose money. India's Grand Prix lost $24 million and Korea's lost $37. Hosting F1 is a bet. When it pays off huge. So let's add it all up. In one Formula One season, you've got the sport itself pulling in $3.8 billion, around $1.4 billion flowing to the teams, over $1 billion in hosting fees from countries, hundreds of millions in driver salaries, and billions more in sponsorship woven through all of it. Put it together, and a single F1 season moves well over $5 billion around the globe, all of it for 20 cars going in circles faster than anything else on Earth. Formula One isn't really a sport anymore. It's a multi-billion-dollar entertainment machine, one that just happens to be wrapped around a racetrack. If you want to understand the money behind the things you love, subscribe. This is Behind the Billions, where we follow the money one story at a time. Next up, how your favorite football club actually makes its millions. I'll see you there.